All right, top 16 action for the first ever RuneCup Brazil. We have Sudrakon, the one and only, versus Kevin Antunes. And boy, was this was this a fun matchup. Pretty excited to bring this content to you guys as well. Again, with this being the first RuneCup Brazil. So I hope you enjoy it. Like the video if you do like it. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe. Why do I gotta keep reminding everybody? But let's get into the top 16 gameplay.
What if Kevin was running Merchant and just in grinding mirror matches testing for this tournament, he just got his Merchant stolen so often and his opponent just ran a Merchant train on him that he was tired of it and he's like, if I cut the Merchants, my opponent has less Merchants.
He's just like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
My opponent has stolen too many of my thieving cards and I don't get to use them, so I'm just going to take them out so my opponent can steal from me a little bit less.
Yeah, trust me.
I've given up this life of crime. Which is a weird thing to say when I take out my stealing cards for a pirate. It's also illegal. Don't pirate things, kids. Kiss Anime and Kiss Manga just got busted. Do you want to be next?
Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, I'm gonna pull up these brackets to go over these for you guys again, since they have clearly.
You guaranteed have the right one.
Oh, I'm not gonna say guaranteed, but I'm pretty confident.
We're just gonna go through every possibility of who could play who in top 16.
And hey, guys. We have a game. We're getting into it. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Kevin versus Sudrakon. Let's get it. Finally, we are here. Just real quick to run down the brackets, too. We have... actually, I got to update these names, too.
Yeah, I was about to say, all this downtime,
I know.
You never fixed
I was all over the place with everything else. I totally didn't... we'll go ahead and update this real quick. Player name 2. So to go over the brackets real quick, just so everybody, because I know we went over them the first time and they weren't exactly, Smash GG did some Smash GG stuff. We have Ian Nogueira playing Leah Zera, first round. So 2 Brazilian players there. We have Real Key versus Naive, second. Macon versus Hexenwitch, third. Italian X versus Coronel, fourth. Otono, who we've seen play all day today, versus El Venito. Black Boss versus Regeki, Sudrakon and Kevin, who are watching, and a Rebi versus HAF. Who will make it to the top 8?
One of these guys for sure.
So RCP, good question. We're going to do one match probably in the top 16, possibly another, depending on how early this game ends. And then, one in the top 8, one in the top 4, and then the finals, of course.
I want to see a speed run. I want to see as quick as possible getting through these matches. Mostly because we started at 2. We had 2 rounds, and then at 5 o'clock we finally started. So there's basically like an hour of downtime between round 8 and top 16, and that's like after you would expect round 8 to finish. So we got to get through this, man. Brazil, they play fast. If anybody can do it, it's them.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say that if anybody can do it, it is definitely Brazil. So we have Sudrakon here. On 6 mana, already staring down a pretty big field. And Kevin, this is interesting. Kevin going ahead and pressuring Sudrakon here, saying, okay, if you're going to continue to pass and not play stuff, I'm just going to open up with a wide field, but could possibly get punished with this Make It Rain. Might feel bad if the saplings are hit with the Make It Rain, so we'll see what RNG does for Sudrakon.
Or not.
Or not. I mean... The other thing you do is possibly play... but if you play Petty Officer, they're just going to get killed with the saplings. So, wow.
Yeah, the Blighted Caretaker is so good on aggressive turns because it really dissuades your opponent from establishing. If you play the Petty Officer here, you're just losing it for absolutely nothing, as well as the 1-drop that it creates, unless you can high roll your Make It Rain onto those saplings. Instead, it's just going to go for the in-combat Make It Rain. Looks like that was face...
No, so...
Or was it Elise?
Yeah.
Spiderling Caretaker?
Yeah,
okay.
So actually, card advantage-wise, that hit decently. It didn't actually hit any of the ephemeral units, but taking 8 damage versus a They Who Endure deck, that is pretty freaking scary. Sudrakon's going to have to hope he can be super aggressive here and be able to just take the game faster than Kevin can get a big They Who Endure built up.
And here we see the warning shot come out to start the level up train of the Gangplank and Sejuani. This monkey idol will represent the next 3 turns of effects going for Sudrakon. So once all is said and done and this monkey idol is finally dead, all the powder monkeys have been used, we're only going to be 1 turn off of leveling up this Sejuani and Gangplank. And now Sudrakon going to have a lot to go wide on with this. Oh, gets a Mage Seeker Conservator.
Wow.
We've seen this deck. Or we've seen this card, rather, in the main deck of the Swain Lux decks. Curious to see what 6-mana spell we can get treated to today. You know, Ruination's a possibility. Hextech Transmogulator is something that could actually turn the They Who Endure into something a lot more teeny tiny.
I'm just surprised you got the name right first shot. That's usually quite the tongue twister there. But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff he could get out of that. And dude, Sudrakon, man, just going balls to the wall. I'm just dropping units. And, you know, one thing about playing against They Who Endure is typically you don't have to worry too much about any sort of removal, right? Beyond something like a Vile Feast. So you don't really care about just dropping units to the board and just going wide and trying to wreck your opponent like Sudrakon is trying to do right now.
You know, these Neverglade collectors could have come in really big, and this is why I like Sejuani and the Endure Spiders so much. But because this is a unified format tournament, we're seeing a lot of players double up on Freljord. We're really not seeing any. Sejuani's committed to the Endure decks. Most players have committed those either to their Frostbite midrange or their Nab decks that we end up seeing. And I believe Kevin has committed his to a Nab deck as well. That is the case. Also has the Gangplank Sejuani. So instead we get Elise Callista. And I know if you've watched our casts before, you know that Shit and I really not big fans of the Elise.
Yeah, not crazy about that card. You know, Kevin deciding to go with the Elise here. It's interesting. It seems like they both brought similar decks, but Kevin having some key differences here with his. And I do think that, you know, Sudrakon in both deck building, the Gangplank Sejuani and with the They Who Endure has the advantage. I just don't like Elise. I think that Hecarim is far better for that deck. And again, with this Gangplank Sejuani, I don't exactly like the Prowling Cutthroat there by Kevin either. So we'll see. We'll see if this They Who Endure from Kevin can take it, though, with Sudrakon already being at 10 health.
Well, Sudrakon does get to level his Gangplank and Sejuani this turn if he can find a way to deal damage, which he could if he wants to play Gangplank and go for a Gangplank's Parlay onto either a unit or the face of Kevin.
Yep, tossing the keg there too, and yeah. Oh, okay, yep, and here, all right. So the They Who Endure already coming down. There's really nothing that Sudrakon can do about this either. He just kind of has to block
Fury
it.
of the North. So Kevin has to be a little bit respectful of the Fury of the North potential from Sudrakon. He could just lose this Endure for nothing.
And he doesn't have 3. Like, he main decks 3 and has a Sejuani on board. So there's a high probability that Sudrakon has the Fury of the North, which is what's leading Kevin to not go ahead and attack with that. But we see here Sudrakon does not have it. So very smart to stay within 4 mana. If he decides to play this... Okay, all right. I was going to say that.
This is, yeah, if Sudrakon goes for the Parlay, it levels his champions, but it also means that Kevin doesn't fear Fury of the North anymore. And I think this is fine. You can still go for the Parlay. Actually doesn't do it. See, I like the Parlay onto face to start off the turn because it levels your Gangplank, levels your Sejuani, which means your Gangplank attack will then trigger the Sejuani. Level, everything will Frostbite on your opponent's board. They're going to have to set up some blocks to not die, and then you're going to follow up with a Riptide Rex.
I got to agree. The only thing, so obviously an open attack here he's seeing is lethal, but obviously there's going to be some blockers thrown in there. And I think he is considering the Parlay to face. Not to mention you put your Riptide online. So, I mean, there's just a lot that happens with this Parlay to face. And yep, does look like Sudrakon's going to go ahead and decide to go with that option. I think this is incredible. This puts so much pressure on Kevin just this one turn, and this might be the game right here.
I mean, so if Kevin has Atrocity, that Atrocity will deal 9 damage currently, thanks to the Blighted Caretaker, and that means that the first block out of Kevin will actually end the game in his favor, regardless of how much attack is on any of his units. As long as that Blighted Caretaker is alive, he is representing a very good shot at lethal with that Atrocity. So, you know, it is a little bit dicey for him here, but I don't think you can play around that because the Atrocity is fast speed. You know, you might as well get as much value as you can out of your cards and, you know, not play around the things that you can't play around. Yeah,
and one thing to note too, so Gangplank is 2 to everything, right? It's not just in combat. So
1 to everything because he doesn't have
there's
a barrel.
no barrel. Yeah, I just automatically assume it's 2. So Okay, never mind. So I was gonna say it's gonna kill, the Elise and the Mist Wraith, but even now it will automatically kill the Hapless Aristocrat. And yeah, I think Sudrakon kind of agrees with you where he's not gonna play around Atrocity because he just can't.
Well, he has an opportunity to now. Atrocity would have had to come out in response to the parlay. Now that the Sejuanian Gangplank is leveled, this Make It Rain, if it hits the face of Kevin, would proc the Sejuani in response to the Atrocity.
Oh yeah, I was just okay. Yeah, because the keg actually resolves after the Atrocity, so the keg will not, or keg. The Gangplank ability is what I should call it.
Yeah, I mean it's
it's a keg, right?
So,
so that actually won't trigger it. So yeah, really interesting interaction with when Sejuani actually procs her freeze effect and completely changing the tides of this battle. Anyways, you see her freeze effect go off. I love that animation, by the way, her freeze animation. I think it's so cool, and the sound effect that goes with it. Lots of damage too coming through with the overwhelm on the side of Sejuani and Gangplank, putting Kevin down a little bit, but those collectors there, that one collector is going to keep him at least somewhat healthy for the time being. Until.
All right, Riptide, can you work your magic? Yep. It looks like it does kill the Neverglade Collector first, so no additional damage going to come through at Sudrakon thanks to that unit, but it entirely misses the Endure, but Sudrakon can finish that off with the Make It Rain.
Yep. So no matter what result that ended with, he would have been able to clear the field. This Make It Rain just kind of ensures that happens. Now, the only problem really is, let's see, 7. He'll be on 9. So Kevin actually cannot win with like another They Who Endure Atrocity next turn. But he will basically have 2 turns to go ahead and draw into that exact combo. He could also Atrocity the one that he has on field, but with it being 1 health, Sudrakon's just baiting him into using the Atrocity on it. Now we will see probably the Make It Rain come out.
I think you're a little more inclined to just block this with something, right? Because if you Make It Rain, then you open yourself up to the Atrocity, but you can just block this.
Yeah, but I mean that's really risky taking the 2 damage.
Is it? How does Endure Spiders actually kill you from 2 HP?
That's a good point, especially because Kevin's field is gone, so he really has no aggression left other than Atrocity. Yep, there it is. Now he's just gonna have to Make It Rain in response. Now second Atrocity.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, that
okay, all right. Woo! All right. I was like, all right, let's see it. Let's see the second Atrocity. Let's go. No second Atrocity there. And it's looking like Sudrakon will just be able to go ahead, take the open attack. Feels a little bad not getting those kegs. It just irking me a little bit to see this, see those just die. Not gonna lie, but this is going to be the attack for game, and Sudrakon gonna go up 1-0 versus Kevin here in the top 16.
That was well played by Sudrakon on that one.
I mean, do we expect anything less from Sudrakon at this point?
Look, I have seen a lot of things over the last couple of weeks from people that I thought were top players. So I mean, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah,
everybody makes mistakes, except me.
Whoa, hold on. What was that?
Let me just slide that one in there. All right, so now we have discard aggro versus the Endure Spiders. I am a little bit worried for this matchup. It can be difficult for your go wide vision strategy to actually work out because, the Endure Spider deck is going to be going just about as wide as you. You do have the option to sort of clean up a lot of the board with the Jinx. The concern is that it's difficult for you to deal with the Neverglade Collector.
Yep, and the Astute Academic coming down early here. Gonna be very curious to see if Sudrakon can, I don't know, just this is gonna sound stupid, but I'm really curious to see if Sudrakon can just do what this deck is supposed to do. Because discard aggro and aggro in general has just been so low tier lately. It just seems really rough trying to win with the deck, and this hand doesn't seem that bad. He does have some draw with the Zonite Urchin. He has ways to discard his hand, some things that work with discard, as well as what we talked about earlier, Draven's biggest fan. Got to pull Draven to the top of the deck here, possibly get him in on turn 3. So we'll see if basically the cards he kind of wants in his hand early get him to where he needs to be.
Yeah, Sudrakon actually has a really big... next turn, Sudrakon can go for Draven's biggest fan into the Zonite Urchin, discard the Flame Chompers, push through 7 damage, and draw a Draven.
Yeah, really aggressive turn here.
if Kevin has something like, you know, a Ravenous Butcher alongside a Cursed Keeper, could just completely blow that out of the water.
A Ravenous Butcher. Oh.
And a Cursed Keeper.
Yeah.
But it looks like Vile Feast instead also
does
something that's going to stonewall a lot of this.
And, like, such a simple... It's just a Vile Feast, man. Like, this deck doesn't even play removal. It's literally just a very common card, and it prevents so much damage from going through on the side of Sudrakon. Like, that's my point. Like, this deck, man, it just seems so difficult to really pick up a win with it.
Yeah, I mean, I had mentioned that so far in my casting experience over the last 2 weeks, this deck is 1-5 while I've been watching, which is a pretty piss-poor record by any stretch of the imagination. You know, people talk about, oh, what's a good win rate? You know, you want to maintain like a 75% win rate with this deck. Oh, this deck has like a 15% win rate while I've been watching.
Oh, man. And, you know, I guess it's interesting too, right? Because because there's a no ban and it's best of 5, Sudrakon has to win with this deck.
Yeah.
What deck does he beat with this?
I mean, he told me that he brought it for Frostbite midrange, but so far we haven't actually seen him play against a player with that deck in their lineup.
No, yeah, and Kevin is not playing it either, so it's like, all right, it's clearly not doing that great right now against They Who Endure. And honestly, if he's not in a good spot by the time turn 5, 6, and 7 rolls around, Neverglade Collector could just make this game impossible to win.
I mean, so Kevin doesn't actually have a great answer for Jinx. If Sudrakon can find that card and just fires off rockets every turn, I mean, you're constantly clearing out the board of your opponent. Even if we say that a Neverglade Collector is nullifying the damage as well as pushing some back onto Sudrakon, eventually Kevin's going to run out of units. And eventually the Collector will even die to the Super Mega Death Rockets, or just any sort of top deck discard. For example, Sudrakon with this Get Excited. If you throw the Get Excited onto the Collector, then the Super Mega Death Rocket finishes it off.
Yeah, I just really want to see a Super Mega Death Rocket animation, not gonna lie. This is like, that's one of the cool things about watching this deck and casting this deck. Or if we get to see the Draven level up animation, that would also be equally as cool. So hopefully this attack turn, we'll see Sudrakon deal a little bit more damage here. Being able to utilize these spinning axes, go wide with this Jury Rig. It's looking like it looks like he's considering Spinning Axe Jury Rig, Spinning Axe Vision, which would definitely be a pretty strong turn. He could also go Get Excited Vision if something comes down on the side of Kevin. And he's going to start it off here with the Spinning Axe Jury Rig.
Well, this all goes off at burst speed. So Sudrakon, okay, here's a question. Do we call this an open attack?
Yeah.
Because you've done things before your attack phase, but you are actually still at a point where...
Yeah, okay. I think as long as you're using your priority to attack, then that's an open attack. Like that I think is the definition.
I'm going to agree with you on that one.
So
I think my problem with the Get Excited is Sudrakon really doesn't want to open himself up to a pre-combat Vile Feast.
Yeah, and well, we might still see one on this Draven, which again is just gonna feel like so freaking bad, and it's such a.
But at least the blocker wasn't developed as well.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, you're gonna get 7 damage through, but now, I mean, you're still at you have 4 cards. You have 4 cards, and your opponent is still at 11. That is not where you want to be at as an aggro deck.
Yeah, you're really kind of all in on the Jinx plan at this point, which is why I'm a little surprised to see us go for another Draven here. But yeah, you do need to find some kind of refuel, get a couple of more cards available to you. Granted, this board could just be enough to take over the game. Unfortunately, these Spiderlings do actually pair into you pretty effectively as blockers, but now we see the Neverglade Collector come out. This is the big card that we were sort of trying to be cognizant of on the side of Kevin. Will this be enough to swing the matchup back into his favor? And we're also only a couple of turns off of Endure. Kevin, unlike Sudrakon, only has to get in about 2 attacks. There's the Experimenter.
That is a good hand. Like, that hand is so sweet as far as mana is concerned. That is feeling really good right about now. I'm curious to see how exactly he decides. Does this Get Excited just have to go face at this point, or do you have to prioritize killing this Neverglade?
I think it depends on how much damage actually comes down this turn, which it looks like. I mean, I don't think Kevin can afford to sort of play effectively and just block the 2 1-health units.
Wow, if he had all...
What is this? Fury of the North.
If he had all 3 Vile Feasts, that feels so bad. Like, that is not what you want to see on the side of Sudrakon. And if it's... Yeah, wow. That sucks.
Oh my god.
He drew all 3 Vile Feasts by turn 6. That is really bad for Sudrakon.
Yeah, your opponent actually gains life off of your attack turn. That is rough.
Yep.
But Sudrakon can kill the Collector this turn between the Get Excited and the Augmented Experimenter. So at least has that going for him in the meantime.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, Glimpse is still on the table from Kevin, which, I mean, we haven't seen one come out, so I imagine when the Neverglade dies, a Glimpse is a pretty good shot to come out. And I think Sudrakon doesn't really have a choice. Like, he's probably thinking, man, I really don't want to have to invest in killing this Neverglade, but trust me, you're doing a lot more than 3 damage killing this Neverglade than going face.
Yeah, I mean, like, so if you Get Excited your opponent's face, and then 3 of their units die in the next combat phase, you have just completely negated your own Get Excited. You have to kill this Collector.
Oh, all right, well, there's no Glimpse on the table anymore. We are going to go ahead with the Augmented Experimenter. Getting some pretty good value, just getting rid of an Axe, which nobody cares about right now, getting 3 new cards, and he needs to pray that we see a Jinx drawn here. Nope.
So, shit, I know that you've been keeping a notepad next to you. How big is Endure right now?
Yeah, it's 10, 11. It's 11.
It's a 10-11. Okay, don't know how that one happened, but 10.5 units have died, so we get 1 onto the health, but not the attack of that they who
Yeah, you
endure.
didn't know that's how that effect worked?
I did not. Thank you for enlightening me. Shit just works. Your stream is educational. It's honest. It's raw. I love everything about it.
It's raw. This is like MTV now? Oh, man. Yeah, and, you know, Sudrakon is still not able to find a Jinx here. Feels really bad. I mean, has a lot of burn. Got that going for him, but no way with the units that he currently has to actually, you know, do any additional damage to face without those burn spells. So at this point, we're kind of just going back and forth, and Sudrakon has to hope that Kevin isn't able to be the aggressor and win here with an Atrocity or They Who Endure.
I mean, Kevin didn't attack last turn. I think
close.
that Kevin's fine just kind of stalemating the board.
I was close.
You were way off.
There's the Jinx. So, I mean, you gotta, or no, actually, Sudrakon's at 18.
Yeah, Sudrakon has lethal over the course of a couple of turns between,
there's no way that Jinx dies
here. He's not running Decimate, so this is pretty much every burn spell in Sudrakon's deck has been drawn at this point.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, you know, the problem with Kevin's deck, you know, yeah, Vile Feast definitely helped him get to this point, but there are no spells or really any way to deal with this Jinx. This Jinx is here. It's here to stay. Blighted Caretaker kind of does it, but now there's no Vile Feasts, so Blighted Caretaker is not going to be able to kill it in one turn.
And this is, like, even if Sudrakon does manage to pick up this game, you're not going to find me singing the praises and flipping my opinion on this discard aggro deck.
Yeah.
It took drawing 3 out of 3 Mystic Shot and 2 out of 3 Get Excited alongside a Jinx, and you need that Super Mega Death Rocket to actually finish off the game as well.
So this is always... so this is...
An Experimenter block?
Well, this is always going to be Get Excited, Mystic Shot, and then, okay. So, yep. This is Sudrakon's gonna be able to take this home, but I got to agree with you, right? Like, even though it's looking like we're gonna see a win with this deck by Sudrakon, I don't know, man. This was sketchy. This was like really close to Sudrakon just not pulling it off. I mean, but is that just inherently discard aggro? Like, I mean, Casino is the same thing, right? Casino, you're like, how the hell did this deck just win? Like, and
I mean, if your game plan is to draw 5 of your 6 burn spells, your deck is bad.
Yeah. So, in other words, you're saying that if your plan is to draw Exodia, that's not a good deck? What?
So if the difference is Exodia is like 5 pieces of Exodia, 5 random cards, and then 30 cards that say draw a card.
Yeah. Oh, how I miss Exodia decks. The only deck that could draw 40 cards in one turn. Can't wait till that's a thing in Legends of Runeterra.
I can. Yeah. Actually, no, because I do miss Togwaggle.
I do, yeah. Togwaggle was fun. Togwaggle was fun.
I do miss just spending the entire game drawing out my deck and then going, oh, actually, you decked out.
And we see a vision as well. So even if you wanted to attack, this would also be one hell of an attack. And I don't think there's a way for Kevin to live through this, right? There's no Vile Feast left.
No. You can't even double Atrocity anything for lethal. You would just be 1 damage shy in that regard as well.
Feels bad. And Sudrakon gonna take down Kevin here. Now going up 2-0. And going into game 3, we'll see if Sudrakon can go ahead and sweep Kevin for a swift victory going into the top 8 here.
And I would have imagined that if Kevin had Atrocity, it probably would have been fired off onto the Jinx.
Yes. Yeah, probably a little while ago, too, just to prevent the Jinx. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so didn't find that key combo. Not being able to find, one Atrocity and one Endure, while Sudrakon gets to find everything. Granted, Sudrakon did draw a lot of cards we saw. I don't think we saw a Rummage fired off, but we did see the Augmented Experimenter. Jinx dug a little bit deeper as well, although that wasn't until after we had already found pretty much every burned spell in the deck. But yeah, Sudrakon actually puts that one together, does pick up that win with discard aggro, and that was sort of the one deck we were worried about him maybe struggling with, and that means he will be moving on to his own Endure Spiders as the last deck that he has to pick up a win with, and he is running the Hecarim as well because he committed his Sejuani to the Nab deck.
Yeah, kind of excited to see Kalista Hecarim version of They Who Endure here. We'll see if the Hecarim pays off. I wonder if we're going to get a mirror match on the side of Kevin after those first 2 losses there, and it looks like, no, we're going to go to the Sejuani Gangplank. He's going to see if he can get a victory with that, and wow, all right. Very curious to see how this matchup goes. I do think that Kevin chose the right deck for this matchup. I think that the Sejuani Gangplank, with the amount of tempo that it has the chance of overtaking this They Who Endure deck pretty quickly. But I don't know. This Hecarim, it kind of throws a little bit of a curveball in that. So we'll see if Sudrakon can stay decently healthy up until turn 6 here.
I mean, we saw Sudrakon pick up this side of the matchup earlier with the Nab into the Endure Spiders, so, you kind of have to give it to Kevin as just on confirmation bias. We did see this matchup earlier. It did go the way of the Nab deck. I don't see a whole lot of reason for it not to go the same way. My concern is that with less Nab in the deck, Kevin, can't really steal the Atrocity, can't steal the Endure, and that is a win condition that we see happen a lot for the Nab deck, actually, that Kevin has just sort of taken off the table. It will have to be the same Sejuani Gangplank plan that Sudrakon went for earlier.
Yeah, and starting with the Curse of Keeper always feels good, especially when you have this thing called Bladed Caretaker going into turn 3. The question is, do you want to try to develop Bark Beast and Kalista first? And it looks like he does not want to do that.
Yeah, Bark Beast Callista's greedy, but it feels so good to play Kalista this turn, followed by Bark Beast into the Bladed Caretaker. You could even Ravenous Butcher over one of the saplings if you had wanted to as well.
Yeah, he would have probably have liked to have the attack token on 4 for sure. So it feels a little bit bad getting the unlucky side of that. And wow, Make It Rain as well. Okay, so
does
decent result.
miss.
Yeah, decent result. I think that would be the best possible result, right?
I mean, I think you would have liked to hit the second sapling instead of the Escaped Abomination.
And not pull the Prowling Cutthroat?
Oh, I thought you meant the best case for Kevin.
No, best case for Sudrakon. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, getting hit in the face kind of sucks, honestly. I think I'd almost rather my Bladed Caretaker die than, tick Kevin closer to those evolutions of his champions.
Yeah. And we see the Monkey Idol come out anyways, so it looks like he is not going to be stopped on that front.
Sudrakon could level the Kalista here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the power of Kalista and Haunted Relic. It does instantly level it. Unfortunately, again, though, not able to get that Bark Beast down first. It seems like he's just this one tiny little bit off from doing everything he wants to do with his hand, but is kind of forced into going this route instead. Seems like the right line of play. And we will see a leveled up Kalista early on here.
Unfortunately, at the moment, I believe Sudrakon is pulling a sapling.
With Kalista. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really not a super impactful hit. You would have much rather, the Cursed Keeper be what's coming out.
Oh, yeah, of course,
but, we'll be able to get the Wraith Caller online with that next turn. So not going to feel too bad about it. Now Sudrakon, he wants to develop the Wraithcaller so that he has an impactful Callista revive and constantly getting mist wraiths, but getting the Neverglade Collector down is also rather enticing. Is going to go for the Fearsome, though.
Yeah, I think you kind of, at this point, with the way Sudrakon's hands played out, he can actually afford to just go aggressive here. It seems weird because Kevin's deck is very tempo-oriented, but I do like this play from Sudrakon. I think he has the advantage right now as far as just how his draws have gone. Going for the Bark Beast as well, just going all out, going to say, all right, Kevin, what you got? I'm going face. Let's see it. Probably a Fury of the North. I imagine Kevin's probably got a Fury of the North in there somewhere in his hand. He is playing 3 of them. What else could mess with this attack? Make it rain feels bad.
I think you hit it on the head. I'm pretty sure it's got to be exactly Fury of the North, right?
Yeah, there's only three Fury, 2 make it rain, 3 warning shots. So as far as spells are concerned, like, what do you Fury here? Do you just, because you can't kill the Callista, so you just try to get rid of the Mist Wraith, or?
I mean, what is?
I don't like Fury isn't even impactful.
Yeah, Fury seems so awkward.
It's not good, right? I mean, yeah, I think right now this is probably just feels really good for Sudrakon. He knows that no matter what happens, he's getting damage through and just putting Kevin in a really awkward spot.
Is presenting 19 damage here on turn 5. That is quite a bit.
Now, why not attack with the Bark Beast as well? Oh, because he's, never mind, he's max units. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was like, is he trying to protect it or something? But nope, just getting that sapling summon with the Callista, getting through a crap ton of damage, putting Kevin down to 8, and this is exactly where Sudrakon wants to be. He's got this Neverglade now, and 2 Ravenous Butchers to proc the Neverglade as Kevin continues to go a little bit lower on life here.
Oh, the Mist Wraith pickup also pretty okay. Oh.
This is big. This is big.
Here comes the Neverglade.
Oh. I think Sudrakon just made the same look on his face that I just made on my face. Like, I think the Neverglade's going to come down, but God, that's a rough board on the side of Kevin. I mean, this is definitely a lot closer now. The Callista's probably going to die. Yup. And it's just going to be a matter of how the blocks line up here. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's actually 2 off from lethal.
So importantly, Kevin didn't develop the Gangplank pre-combat last turn, and that makes me think that he's got some kind of plan for this barrel here. Because the only, obviously the Gangplank is an effective blocker. The only reason that I could think of that you wouldn't want to get him down pre-combat is because you don't want the barrel challenged out for free by Sudrakon, but he had 3 spell mana available last turn as well, has it here. So I don't actually know what he's planning to do with this barrel unless he just wants to stack them up for a big Gangplank board wipe a little bit later on, but he's got to deal with this Neverglade Collector, which 3 barrels would do. So maybe that's the plan.
Yeah, I think that's probably the route he's going to be going here, because he absolutely needs to get rid of the Neverglade. If he doesn't, he just dies. And this is one of the reasons why I've constantly just said Neverglade is absolutely nuts sometimes. It's just going to chill on the board, and even though he's at 8 health, it's basically this card is just going to win Sudrakon the game if he doesn't do something about it.
The problem is you actually can't stack up that many barrels, because if Sudrakon attacks the barrel and you're like, oh, I'll warning shot to freeze your board, that consumes the barrels.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to stack barrels unless you have an unyielding spirit.
I thought you were going to say real sentence, and I got excited that you'd finally formed a coherent thought.
No, I don't do that.
And instead you talked about unyielding spiriting. I hate you so much.
We don't do coherent thoughts here on these streams. What are you talking about, Boulevard?
I should have stayed in bed today. It's a nice rainy day. Could have gotten
lots of
cup of tea, caught up on my soaps.
Yeah, soaps.
LCS playoffs are going on. Those are my soap operas.
Days of our lives.
Yeah. Catch some K-drama.
So it looks like, also considering playing the Warden's Prey here, but first going to go ahead and attack. If, I don't know. I feel like I would have liked to have seen the Warden's Prey played as well. Just because if 3 units die, he can play the Mist Wraith and then just kill his opponent with the 2 Butchers. That's just game.
Yeah.
So I like this. Even if the freeze won't matter, no matter what Kevin does, he's forced. And all right, so the good thing about Ravenous Butcher, right? you can't chain anything to it. So, oh God, chain, Jesus, Yu-Gi-Oh, yeah.
You said
I said chain, Jesus. Yeah, so like that effect just goes off, and that really benefits Sudrakon in this situation because something like Make It Rain can't prevent the Ravenous Butcher from actually killing whatever unit it's sacrificing to go ahead and get that proc of the Neverglade Collector off. So wait, did he just? Did I see that right? Did he just attack with the Warden's Prey?
Yeah, that's what he did.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Sudrakon is about to get absolutely mollywopped by a petty officer making a 4th barrel and blowing up Sudrakon's entire board with this Gangplank, and then presenting lethal with his 2 Overwhelm units.
Well, okay, but if his board dies, then Kevin dies.
If he gets 1 more barrel, then Sudrakon's board all dies at the same time.
Oh, and then Neverglade won't come out. I don't understand why he didn't attack with everything. That just seems like such a no-brainer.
I think he was trying hard to hang on to things on board to actually kill with the Ravenous Butcher. I think if he was left with 1 unit, he was afraid of the possibility of a barreled up Make It Rain coming down and clearing out the 1 unit that wasn't Neverglade Collector. But I think he still could have played it a little differently and been fine here.
Yeah, wow. So we'll see how this plays out. We have 2 barrels, 1 more, and exactly what you're saying might come to light. Wow, I like how everything is frostbitten, but not. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird with the Monkey Idol going off at the end of the turn. It freezes everything, and then I've seen this bug multiple times.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Kind of like, did they fix the Vi gauntlets yet?
I'm sorry, did he just pass? How do you ever plan to win this game?
Wait, what? Wait. Wow. Okay.
So, okay. Okay, so I think what Kevin is going for here... I mean, like, you still have to stall. You do have Sejuani, so you can still stall a little bit, but you need to commit, like, a warning shot or something. I feel like he's trying to stall up until he can get enough barrels to one-shot the entire board, but that's just not happening.
Why are we not attacking with everything? Why? I cannot for the life of me understand.
Yeah, I actually don't know why we're not attacking with everything. Even if your board gets frostbitten, like, that's how you present lethal, right? Is you block my entire board.
Yeah, like, it doesn't matter. Like, things dying is good. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, it looks like he'll still have lethal, so it's not a huge concern, but, like, I just don't understand. So there's 1. And so no, well, actually, now he has to rely on a glimpse, which can be countered.
But it can only be countered by killing the unit.
Oh, all right, never mind. Hey, that's a good point you got there, buddy. Yep, and then we're just going to see the uncounterable Ravenous Butcher come out, and that's game. And thank God they made that update where if you have 6 units on the board, you can still play another unit. Because
I think Kevin was just trying to, like, hold on for another way to generate a 4th barrel and get the attack off with that Gangplank, and it just never came.
Yeah, I think that might have been his only way at actually losing or winning the game there. I still just don't know why he didn't attack with everything. That blows my mind a little bit. Sudrakon.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't understand why Sudrakon didn't swing out.
That seems kind of odd to me. But all right, back to us, guys. All right, that was a game. That was nice. That was awesome, actually, to see Sudrakon be able to take it away there with a little bit of a different version of They Who Endure. We didn't really get to see it there because Hecarim was not drawn, so it might as well have just been a regular version of the deck. We did see, the Gangplank, Sejuani, and Discard Aggro somehow won that game.
You say we know exactly how. This is like Poro's winning by War Mother's whiffing 5 times in a row.
We're like never gonna forget that.
How could we?
That was was pretty nuts as far as
actually,
RNG
I'm starting to think of it. I think Lobster started taking a break from tournaments after that one, so maybe that was the cause. Actually,
we witnessed Fresh Lobster's demise. I quit now. I'm not playing this game anymore.
He made a bet with Topher, and he was like, every time I put 5 War Mother's whiffs in my deck, and for every time I whiff, I'm gonna take a week off of tournaments. 5 whiffs in a row. It's been 5 weeks, and we see him coming back into tournaments. So I'm going to go ahead and say that one was true, and that is exactly what happened.
Oh man. Well, if we're gonna go ahead and stay with Sudrakon, we actually Aremi. Oh nope, it looks like. Oh yeah. All right. So I keep thinking it's best of 3. Aremi is still playing HAF. They're on game 4, and I think we can actually hop into that game. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull this bad boy up, and see if that is indeed the case. And yeah, looks like they are still playing. So let's bring this bad boy. I see a Poro on the. Oh no, it's just from Petty Officer. Never mind. I tried, guys. Sorry about that. All right, let's get into the game. Hold on. Let me... Actually, before I do that, let me... so I can actually fix the names this time around. And
so we have TF Swain versus Frostbite midrange. We saw this matchup a little bit earlier. We saw it get swung by a massive Frostbite into Reckoning to clear out the Swain and the Leviathan and all those kinds of things. Not quite there yet, but a Rebbe can get down a Leviathan this turn, though. It'd be scary. I mean, 7 damage would be pushed onto it by this Reckless Trifarian.
Sorry, I'm updating the score. You can...
I'm like looking at what's going on here exactly. It looks like we're going to go for Zap Sprayfin over the Leviathan. I don't mind this too much. Ooh, Ravenous Flock, a pretty good pickup. Going to be able to take out that Ash if you want to. Though the Ash can just get blocked by the Poros. So, you know, it's kind of a weird attack for Half. Now has a guaranteed attack with the Sejuani. And I like this a lot. Anytime that you can get the Sejuani down alongside Ash and Glory Seeker, it feels really good because your Ash is then allowed to challenge the Frostbitten unit. You guarantee that she is safe. She still gets her effect from her attack going off. Your Glory Seeker gets to run into the unit that Ash frostbites, and then Sejuani just goes in because she's big as hell and will overwhelm any little blocker that your opponent wants to throw out.
Yeah, and
we'll see if that is what Half lines up. No, don't do that.
Ooh.
Kill more units.
I mean, still gonna get some pretty decent trades off here on the Twisting and the Zap. Got a lot. Let's see. So this Ash is actually going to freeze one of these petty officers here, right?
Yeah.
So still decent.
It looks like Half is expecting his Ash to get removed by some kind of spell and has decided that he does want to commit to killing this Twisted Fate. I think that's why we see the Sejuani go at that instead of the Ash. And then looks like 4 damage going to come through at a Rebbe. Going to see the Elixir onto the Ash. That doesn't matter. We've got a Ravenous Flock.
Yeah. And it's interesting though. I mean, so actually, a Rebbe. Do you argue that you blocked the petty officer to the Ash and then the Poro to the Why did he line that up like that?
He didn't want to have to commit a spell to the Ash if he didn't have to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he lined the petty officer up on the Ash, he wouldn't have had to Ravenous Flock there to an Elixir of Iron.
Yeah, but Half wouldn't have fired off the Elixir of Iron.
Most likely, yeah. Or he could possibly. Is Half playing? Do we know if he's playing Fury of the North?
I would have to check, but I would assume not. I mean, there's a Sejuani in hand. Or on field, rather.
So he could, yeah, okay, so he could.
Yeah, he could have the Fury, but... I was fine with the Poro block. I'm fine trading my Elixir, or my Ravenous Flock for an Elixir if I'm getting rid of an Ash kind of deal.
Well, I am fine having a leveled up Swain on the field, and that is exactly what a Rebbe has now, and draws into a second Leviathan now, opting to still pass on the Leviathan, though, and take this red card, which... As we all know, with this sweet Swain on board, is going to go ahead and stun out the Sejuani, which is pretty big for the stack turn.
What? Do we like red card more than we like Leviathan?
I don't know. I
like your Swain's still not getting through. There's a Trapper that's not stunned.
Yeah, I gotta say... Wait, hold on.
Is this Sejuani stunned, or did the damage all happen simultaneously and it stunned the 7-1?
Okay, that's what I was just asking myself. I think that actually is how that just resolved.
Oh, mama.
Oh, my God. So, wait. Hold on. Back up, though, because I need to figure out if that's how that works. Does red card... If red card is killing the strongest unit, that means that nothing gets stunned?
That would be wild.
That's kind of... I'm surprised that's the first time that that's coming up, too.
You know, I liked the Leviathan a lot more than I liked the Twisted Fate, and now I get to wholeheartedly stand by that as we once again see Reckoning completely blow this matchup out of the water. Now the Brittle Steel going to level the Ash, and that is going to be all she wrote here in whatever game this is. Half going to be able to pick this one up thanks to a massive 7-unit Reckoning, 6 on his opponent's side of the board. There is nothing Arebi can do about this. It's just going to have to Culling Strike his own unit, but this Hand of 8 drop's not going to get it done. And Sejuani Ash going to take this one out.
Yeah, and this was actually game 4, half up 2-1, so that is half taking it home, and is actually going to be playing Sudrakon next. So we will be able to go ahead and watch us some more Sudrakon action here in a second, or we do have Utono. I guess whoever starts first, but Sudrakon already has his opponent. Utono does not.
Sudrakon's probably going to start first then.
Utono, I will say, which I got to mention this because of his deck lineup of playing this Fizz Starlit Seer deck. He's in top 8. So this deck is doing work. This whole Fizz, Starlit Seer, Wave Rider, elusive type deck with Twisted Fate, of course, is Reckon today is doing really freaking good, and I'm glad to see it. I like seeing kind of a cool, different deck like that make it to top 8.
I have decided to just blanket be a fan of any deck with Slippery Wave Rider in it right now.
I mean,
that's just kind of the decision that I've made. That's the truth that I'm living in.
I fully support that decision, though. Like, I support you, my man, because that card not only... So, the card's name is just, like, you can't get mad at that name. Like, it's just a fun, cool name. And the guy... The dude on the card is having a fun time, too. Like, come on, look at that. Look at the card. That's just a Fizz-like amphibious... What was it again? Yordle. Chilling, riding waves, having a good time. So, yeah, I got to agree with you. I like that decision on your part. So, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to see if Sudrakon's already going and loading up. Like we mentioned, it does look like Sudrakon's probably going to start before Utono, since we did see that HAF there, or half did win the game.
So importantly, we had mentioned that Sudrakon brought this lineup to beat Frostbite midrange, and we haven't seen him play against that yet, but Half does have Frostbite midrange in his lineup. Will Sudrakon be able to 3-0 that one?
And you said, okay, well, I guess, yeah, we'll see if the discard aggro actually has the ability to do what Sudrakon is saying it has the ability to do. With that said, yeah, I'm still not convinced on this discard aggro, especially after the win that we saw with it. We did see a win, but god damn, that was a close game. So I don't know how I feel about that. So it looks like Sudrakon is just waiting to get started here in just a second. So I do want to go ahead and try to pull up Sudrakon's decks again, which we actually already have his up. Please tell me, are there deck links for Half?
No.
Oh, why are you going to do that to me, man?
Because I'm already looking at them. I'm already putting them into Runeterra bands so that I can take a look at them.
God, I literally have a shortcut on my desktop to import deck on Mobilytics. Just so I don't have to, like, keep going through all the menu options.
So it looks like we have Endure, Frostbite midrange, and Twisted Fate Swain.
Endure, Frostbite midrange, Twisted Fate Swain. So pretty standard lineup.
Well, you'd think that. So, let me tell you about this Endure list real quick.
Boy.
Elise Callista. No Blighted Caretaker. 2 Chronicler of Ruin. 3 Atrocity. 2 Battle Fury.
Wow, so kind of sounds like he's just going all in on, I will get this combo off.
Like triple Atrocity and some Battle Furies to make some threats other than Endure that are going to put your opponent into Atrocity range. Oh, what's that? You didn't block my Spiderling? Well, I guess you're dead now.
Wow, that's interesting. I kind of like that, though, right? I mean, if he is able to get off, like, Battle Fury plus Atrocity in the same turn, and that's what wins him the game, I would love to see that.
Well, that's a 14-mana play.
Is it? Oh, okay, never mind. Never mind. I don't know why I was thinking to add it up to 13. So once again, guys, my math skills, absolutely horrid.
So what's a little surprising to me is before we saw Callista added to the Endure list, I don't know if you remember way back then, the standard lineup for an Endure Spiders champion list was 3 Elise, 2 Thresh, 1 Tryndamere. And I'm a little surprised to not see a return to form on that, even if you go 3 Callista, 2 Thresh, 1 Tryndamere, or even just 2 Elise, 3 Callista, 1 Tryndamere. I'm just a little surprised not to see Tryndamere in a deck like this if you are going all in on that that atrocity package.
Yeah, especially, yeah, because it's much more late game oriented. As opposed to, you know, generally speaking, They Who Endure kind of has 2 win conditions. Either you overwhelm your opponent with a lot of smaller units early game, you get some of those Cursed Keepers triggered, Blighted Caretakers, just kind of go all in and do a lot of damage. Maybe even play a They Who Endure on turn 7 just to get that last little bit of damage through. But this one, yeah, I mean, 3 Atrocity, very much more a late game strategy. Also surprised to not see Tryndamere. Tryndamere is like, does that card exist? Where did he go?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to bring up that card is starting to see play as a one-of in a couple of Frostbite mid-range lists, I believe. I know there's a deck that it is seeing playing as a one-of, and I'm 99% sure it's Frostbite mid-range.
Really? All right, Sudrakon going to go ahead and advance to the top 8 here. Sudrakon, a Brazil native as well, so we'll see if he's going to be able to take home the championship for Team IQ, as he is a Team IQ member. So, as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. Peace out.